the ball in, the Betcher!
Hey there, listeners. Welcome to the first ever full episode of God's Own Football's English podcast. So, we are 6 weeks into the seventh edition of the Indian Super League, and almost every team has played at least 7 to 8 matches. Mumbai City sit comfortably at the top of the league right now, but teams like ATK Mohan Bagan still have a chance to beat them and go ahead of them. At this point of time, we have quite many topics to discuss. So, but before I go into the details, I'd like to welcome my co-panelists, Krishnan Ganesh and Vivek Mohan. So, hi guys.
Hi guys. Hi.
So, as you all know, the refereeing standards have not been quite acceptable so far this season. Referees have made plenty of mistakes that have cost teams, the results in a drastic fashion. If you remember the game between Jamshedpur FC and FC Goa, it was a game which Jamshedpur FC could have won had they got that goal ruled in their favor. But later on, the FC Goa managed to turn the tables by scoring 2 goals and winning the game. So things like that definitely matter in the long run when points table is decided by the basis of just 2 or 3 points between teams. So without further ado, let's hear from our panelists what they think of the refereeing system in Indian Super League.
Yeah. So the thing is, the refereeing system is always has been criticized for far too long in Indian football. The basic thing is we kind of the criticism comes that we kind of lack the good referees to referee a game. Not only the referees, including the linesman and all those stuff. But this is in Indian. It is not in Indian football alone, because if you see in Premier League also, it is now prevalent that there are refereeing decisions criticized left, right, and etc. So this will be always there in a football game, and this is kind of because of the passions of the football fans, and they will always find faults in decisions that goes against them. So that will always be there. But still, as Harry said, the goal that ruled out for Jamshedpur and all, that shouldn't happen, because at this point of time there is no relegation thing in ISL, which doesn't really matter because of that, but it still affects the clubs in a very bad way. So probably I'll have to say that we do need to improve on this refereeing thing as a solution. As a solution, I don't know what needs to be done, because I saw that they have gone into a partnership with Premier League for some kind of refereeing initiative and everything. But that is like bringing someone who is already stabbed to stitch you, because Premier League is the I don't know, the best criticized league for refereeing thing and implementation of VAR. And the major thing everyone goes on about is implementing VAR in India, in ISL especially. And if you see, Marcus tweeted out like it costs around 25k USD per game to bring VAR to India, and that's a huge cost. And our league is just starting it out, so I don't know whether that is very feasible in India. Then another one funny thing I saw, that maybe to give referees a Hotstar account to view the highlights of the match there and there. The thing people should understand is even in the live feed there is a delay of 1 second or something, so that the TV feed, the live feed, it is kind of a delay of 1 second, and then the Hotstar account is another, like it is delayed for further 1 or 2 seconds. So that's not actually really a feasible idea, because you cannot stop the play for 4 seconds to the replay to come. So that's why it costs that much to implement. But I do think we can train up our referees more, maybe remunerate them more, uh, give training for them more, uh, and we have to go through this process because they have to referee games to make mistakes and learn. So that's there also. Then another, but only one thing I would say is goal line technology is, I think it's very easy to be done. That should be done. If you are telling that you are a major league in Asia, you aspire to be a major league in Asia, then goal line technology should be done. That's a no. That's a it's not a negotiable thing. That should be there. I don't think VAR is at present point of time very feasible in India, unless Reliance pitchings. So let's see.
Well, so we have heard our opinion, our Krishnan Bro's opinion on refereeing and implementation of VAR. So I think the key takeaways from what he said is VAR, as quoted from credible sources like Marcus Margulao, VAR is very costly to implement. 25,000 US dollars per game means a fee in when it's converted into Indian rupees, it's a fee that costs over 18 lakhs per game, which is a very which takes the league to a very different level. I don't think transfer fees in Indian football, are that expensive. So yeah. So well, the implementation of VAR could be difficult, but then, like Krishnan Bro said, I think there's a possibility that we can implement goal line technology. If you have seen the match against between Jamshedpur FC and FC Goa, I think goal line technology would have been handy there. The game's result would have gone in a different direction had that been implemented in that game. Well, we have Krishnan Bro starts here, but what does Vivek Mohan think? Let's listen.
Yeah, I think refereeing in India has been very poor for some time. It's because ISL is in spotlight. Like we see these kind of mistakes happening. Like they have ISL do have like major view shifting. So these referees also will be under pressure, and the teams which play in ISL, they have these high profile coaches. They also bring up like a different kind of pressure to these referees. Like they shout at these guys. The players shout at these guys. So these things doesn't happen in I League or I League 2. So maybe what I think is VAR is not possible at this time. It's very expensive, as Christian Bro and Harry has said. So what we can do is like we can come into an agreement with some sort of refereeing training program with a better league, and then we can do like 1 or 2 months like referee referee improvement, like what it's kind. I think it's happening with what Christian Bro said. Like Premier League is, they are bringing some trade instructors from the UK and like training them, but it's happening only for like 10 or 15 days. I think we have to implement a long-term plan, like 1 month or 2 month kind of program during the off season, and maybe like taking our like 2 or 3 best referees to the England, and maybe train them, and maybe like create a match day scenario, like how can they perform better and all that. It is going to be a long process, I think. These referees, like how we talk about our players, like it's going to be a long process. How like they can get better and all that. Maybe, but this refereeing thing, it's going to be synonymous with our footballing thing also. If we have to get better in Asia, this refereeing also has to be get better. Otherwise, the players who come from outside or the coaches who come from outside, they will be mocking at our refereeing standards. Like just now, somebody said, I think Northeast or FC Goa coach, he said that people are mocking at the refereeing standards from Spain. So we don't want that to happen. But this is going to take a little bit more time. It's not going to happen over time. That's what I'm going to say. It will take a bit of uh, maybe 1 year or 2 year. But as Kristen said, we have to implement the goal line technology. It is much more feasible compared to VAR. We can do it. I think we have the AFF and the FSTL have to sit with the broadcasters, and I think they can implement this goal technology. That's what we can do immediately. But the other thing, the standards, I think it will take a lot of time.
Yeah, so I agree with what Vivek bro is saying. Another thing is we are not in this broadcast. We are I don't think we as a whole group are criticizing the whole refereeing system in India, because there are people who are really good, who has done really well in ISL also. Because if you see in the first few matches, I was actually surprised with the refereeing standards. Then it went really downhill. Like first few matches, it was good, and then I have seen few games where referees has done well also. But the problem is they are in the minority percentage. The majority is still making. It's not about the big decisions get all the highlight. Like you didn't give the penalty or you give the penalty. That big or your offside calls and all these big decisions get the major highlight. It's not only the big decisions that matters in a game. The problem is all the other decisions also. You give a foul when someone is countering, and you don't play the advantage, or you give a foul when someone is dominating, or you give a foul when it's not really a foul. So all the second balls and all this stuff, the referee can influence a game like very huge way. So all these decisions add up in a game. It's not like one decision or two decision. So as Vivek bro said, it is not really. This is not going to improve in a uh, we can bring some VAR in and it will improve. VAR isn't a solution for to improve the refereeing standards, because in VAR what happens is there is another referee who sits behind a screen and calls these shots. Then also there is human thing involved. So you have to call this shot whether you see in TV or whether you see in pitch. So that's also a decision making process there. So implementing VAR just doesn't make everything rosy, because we have seen in the same thing in Premier League. If anyone is following Premier League, the same thing was like coming. VAR will bring in and everything will be rosy, and every decision will go. Still, they are debating about the major decisions and stuff, and VAR gets some blame and the referee gets some blame. So they are still figuring this VAR thing out, and we are not at a. I don't think we are not at a stage where we can experiment with this VAR thing and stuff. Let big leagues like Premier League, Bundesliga, Spanish La Liga, and all experiment with this VAR thing and bring a better product. Then maybe in future we can get into that. But the major thing is implementing the goal line technology at the earliest. As soon as possible, it should come.
The thing is, VAR war is still not perfect. I feel that's what I feel. Even in big leagues like Premier League or La Liga or something, I think they have this. This system has so many problems. That's what I feel when I watch the games and from the feedback of the fans also. If you look at the DRS system, which was implemented in cricket some time back, DRS when implemented was not perfect. even BCCI, the India's cricket body, they didn't agree to use that system for a long time. So when it became like almost like acceptable with the players from India and other countries, then it was uh, like it was what the all the cricket bodies from all over the world, they felt like okay, this is now almost a perfect system, the DRS one. So they gave the green signal, and now it's being used universally, like in almost all countries. And after it was accepted, uh, uh, the system also, I think, became cheaper cost wise. So I think now we are or war is still not perfect. So my opinion is like we have to wait for some time until it becomes perfect, or like not 100%, but still like 90 or 95% perfect. And cost wise also, like it should be feasible for us, for any league, not only for the richer countries or like richer leagues, like for example leagues in India or leagues in Sri Lanka. Like when it becomes useful, feasible for them to use, we should use war.
Yeah, the thing is like the war thing is it's never going to be a perfect thing. Like it will still be a human thing involved in that. So my point of view, as Vivek bro said, if you look at all these other sports, this is not related to Indian football at all. Okay, this is related to war thing. And if you look at other sports like cricket, tennis, uh, maybe even
Hockey, hockey, hockey.
hockey,
Okay.
uh, yeah, all these things they have the referral system that the coaches or the players have the option to refer a system against the call of the umpire or referee or whatever. Uh, but the thing is, in football there is no referral system, so every major decision goes through VAR. So they want 100% accuracy rate, because every major decision goes through that. But in cricket and all, they have allowed for the human error to be there. So if you only get two referral, so if you exhausted that, then even if human error is involved, no one is going to blame the umpire. Everyone will blame the captain or coach for utilizing that referral wrongly. So I think the same situation should come in football also. Some we have a lot of technologies and stuff. Something like coaches should give some kind of button or something to I don't know, I am not a technical expert. So something like that, they should give it to one half, like first half as a one referral, second half as one referral, something like that. They should allow the human error also, because human error will always be there. You cannot take it away from any of the thing. Human error, you cannot, there will never be 100% thing. It will be always be 99.9, something like that.
Yeah, so like the popular saying goes, to err is human, and refereeing has always been a human job. So mistakes are bound to happen. Like Krishna bro said at the beginning, in the beginning of the season, we had some good refereeing decisions taken across a few matches, but then the standards dipped and it has continued to cause problems. From the conversation that has happened so far, the takeaway that we bring out would be to continue giving trainings and coaching to referees in a bid to make them better, while at the same time looking at technological alternatives uh, to improve the end result. So yeah, goal line technology being not as expensive as VAR, we feel that that should be the first option, that should be one of the first options that FSDL and ISL should take, while VAR can come at a later stage. Like another popular saying goes, Rome was not built in a day. The ISL is still a fledgling league. They are still looking to become one of the top leagues in Asia. They're on their way, and these improvements will definitely follow, but it will take some time, we feel. Another popular misconception that I'd like to address in this case is the link between Premier League and ISL in terms of refereeing. So the news came out last week when it was publicly announced that ISL has entered into some kind of partnership with the Premier League to improve officiating standards. But then a lot of people misread the story and have started assuming that foreign referees are about to, who have experience in the Premier League are about to arrive in India and start officiating. But that's not the case. Like Vivek Bro and Krishnan Bro said earlier, it's more of a kind of interaction or a session of or a series of classes between Premier League officials and Indian officials, where the Premier League officials will try to teach the Indians about the nuances of refereeing, about the nuances of interaction between players, coaches, and other officials during a match to bring out better results. So that's the kind of partnership that ISL and Premier League have struck. It's nothing regarding exchange of referees or implementation of VAR and other technologies. It's just a series of classes which AIFF and FSDL will use to improve the officiating in the competition. So we talked about refereeing and human mistakes so far, and now I think it's time to move on to our second topic. Yeah, so when you take a look into the ISL season so far, each of the 11 teams have played about 7 to 8 games, and they have all. And one common factor between all these teams is that they have fielded a starting 11 which comprises of 4 to 5 foreigners every single game. It means that they are keen to put all their foreign play, complete their foreign quota in the starting 11 and fill the rest of the space with Indian players, which does not look like a good sign for Indian football, because there are very few Indians who hold key posts of responsibility in each of these Indian sides. If you take at Bengaluru SC, we had Ashik Kurunian, who was a vital player for them in the left flank. We have Sunil Chetri. When you take a look at Chennai FC, we have Anirudh Thapa and Lalianswala Changte. In Hyderabad FC, there is Tinklen Sana Singh and the two fullbacks, Akash Mishra and Aziz Rai. But when compared to these three sides, and when compared to the already established players like Brandon Fernandez or maybe Sahal Abdul Samad in Kerala Blasters start matchday squad, I think very few Indian footballers hold key responsibility positions in starting 11. So our next discussion is about that, and let's hear from Krishnan on what he thinks about this.
Yeah, so there is a discussion going on around like what will happen to Indian football if the players doesn't play the major responsible position. That is the spine of the team. The spine of the team includes like striker, midfield, and center back. As such, most of the clubs are playing Indian GK, Indian goalkeeper. So that really doesn't matter. So the actually, if you see all through, the midfielders are packed. We have good midfielders. Indians are playing in the midfield. So we have Anirudh Thapa, we have Suresh in Bangalore, we have Amarjit Kayam, who hasn't played that much of a game in ISL as of now, but is still a really good prospect. We have Rolling Rogers, we have Tankri in Chennai, who has a really good ISL till now. We have Rohit Kumar, who has played some average games and some good games, and we have Jeekson in Kerala Blasters, and like that. The midfield is actually really packed, and we have options for midfield, and Yasir in Hyderabad. So that is then the major position comes. Usually, most of the clubs play fullback as Indians and wide attackers as Indians, whether it is wingers or a number 10 in the wide position and all these things. So the major positions India doesn't play, and most clubs prefer foreigners to play are attack as a striker and CB. And this season we have seen some clubs with Indian CBs also. So some of them are getting minutes in CB positions also. Still, it is not up to the level we need. Should be more, but that can come with maybe the next year the 3+1 rule and all. CBs I think will be a like a one Indian CB will become the norm. Because you will tend to prefer foreigners for the game changing positions. But the problem comes in the striker position. Nobody in Indian in the ISL is starting with the Indian striker. I think even only the major like East Bengal is the only one who has like JJ as the sole striker. Pilkington is not really a striker, but he plays there as a striker instead of JJ, and obviously and Balwant, and both of them are not starting ahead of him. And if you and Chaudhary plays as a left-sided winger or something like that, and we don't really have a striker starting in Indian league. That's a major concern. I don't know how to like. There are various proposals to fix that. One of my opinion is to play a reserves league where these people can play the games out rather than sitting in the bench and not playing. Like if you see in Mumbai City, you have Farooq, you have Vikram Pratap. All these people are not, and these people should start ahead of Lafondre and Ogbache. Is that going to happen? It's not going to happen. So, and then only striker who is getting some chances is Manveer in ATKMP, who is really good getting some minutes. And if you see in even though he plays in the wings, Rahim Ali for Chennai, who is a really good. I think he can be a 9 in future. So the problem is all these people are not playing as a 9 also, because in ATKMB Rohit Krishna is there. In Chennai, even though very controversial stuff, Jacob Sylvester is still the leading 9. So nobody is Indian is leading the league. So for that to happen, maybe the reserves league not only will help with this thing, but also will help with the fitness of the players who are on the bench and things. Then another proposal I can think of, or like I have seen going around, is like implementing an Indian Arrows kind of project in ISL, so that all these big clubs who have a lot of players in the roster can loan out these players to Indian Arrows project, and they can play. It should be only Indian thing, and they can play in the ISL. So these are all the like fixes I can think of. But people should start thinking about that, because if we don't really get a striker playing in our major Indian league, then how will we score goals as a national team? So that's a major question mark.
Yes, for years in India, for the past few years in Indian football, one of the most common questions that have been asked around is who is the successor for Sunil Chhetri in the goal scoring position. Based on Sunil Chhetri's performance, I think it's safe to postpone the answer for a while. But still, this is a question that needs answer. This is a question that Indian football needs to sort out as soon as possible in the coming months. Well, like Krishnan Bro said, we are lacking in terms of striking when it comes to Indian football. We do have some pretty decent midfielders, pretty decent defenders, and of course, goalkeepers like Amrinder Singh and Albino Gomez, who did very well against either side in the Mumbai City Kerala Blasters clash on Saturday. So yeah, but still an important part that needs to be addressed is the striking part. And another important thing here, very interesting observation by Krishnan bro. He mentioned that just like in the I League where the Indian Arrows project is doing very well, it would be good to see an ISL, ISL implementing a similar project with the AIFF or FSDL taking initiative to play an all Indian side that not only helps in competition but also helps in development of Indian talent. So let's hear from Vivek bro what he thinks about all this. I would love your opinion on that particular final point by Krishnan bro on the feasibility of an all Indian side in the ISL.
Well, I think is that ISL is more a commercial league when compared to I League, and Indian Arrows project like thing won't work out in ISL, considering the commercial aspects like sponsorship and all that. I don't know how many clubs will loan out their players to this particular club to play against them in ISL. What we can do is like what Krishnan said before. We can. It is there already. Like ISL have their own reserve teams, and these teams play in like most. I think most 8 teams or so they play in this reserve league in I League second division. I'm not sure about it. So maybe force these clubs like almost if there is 11 teams there, we have to force all these 11 teams to have a reserve team, and they have to play compulsory in this reserve league. But still, this topic has been going around for some time. Like even if when we had 3+1 rule before ISL came, this was like there was this debate going around like we don't have players in game changing roles like strikers and wingers and all that. So I don't know how to find a solution. Maybe maybe like our best players like for example Tapa, Changte, Suresh, they have to go to better leagues in Asia. That's what I feel. Like if we have like our 10 to 8 players playing in other leagues in Asia, I'm not saying in Europe or some other region, because Asia is the one which we can aspire to play. Like for example, J League or Thai League or Vietnam League or and maybe even A League also. If our players go there and play, there would be a small vacuum here in ISL. So these some players, if our good players are going outside, there will be another level of means that there will be a level of players like trying to fill that vacuum. Maybe one idea is that we can have a all-star 11 versus ISL 11. Maybe that kind of game we can plan like before the season begins. It happens in most of the Asian leagues and MLS. Maybe like for example, Mumbai City is winning the league this season. Maybe before the next season begins, they can play against the all good players of the all other clubs, like one match or two matches or something. Maybe it's not like it's purely for commercial purpose also, but still we can find out like what players we can use in these major positions. But as I say, this has been going around some time, and it's not very easy to find a solution also.
Yeah, so but what do you guys think about, so right now, like Vivek bro said, we have this option of playing 5 foreigners in the team, and most teams are utilizing that. But what do you think about the 3+1 rule that is all set to be established in Indian Super League in the coming years? I think it will be in effect from the next season, 2021-22 season. So that would mean one extra Indian player in every side. Will that play an important role in improving the quality of Indian players? And will it increase the belief in Indian players on various ISL clubs?
Yeah, I think that's what I said. Like even with the 3+1 rule, I think it will they will majorly start playing someone like an Indian CB as an additional thing, as an additional Indian player. I still don't think the clubs will trust Indians to score goals, because in ISL, if you have to you have to score around 10 to 13 goals to a, like your striker, your number 9 has to score around 10 to 15 goals uh, for a team to get into the playoffs. So all the teams will be looking at that. Like the aspiration will be to qualify for the playoffs. So uh, will an Indian score that amount of goals? That's the major question. And who is willing to support an Indian to do that? So if somebody takes a plunge, then I can see another some of the other guys taking that. But the problem is nobody has till now. Everyone is trusting a foreign striker to score that amount of goals, and that's what I said. Like, I kind of agree with Vivek bro that maybe the Indian Arrows project is not that feasible in ISL, but still think the thing is we have to find a solution for this. And it's not like if you implement that project also, like they will come back and play against their team, like their parent team. Whoever is on loan won't play against their parent team, so that doesn't matter as much. But I don't know whether that's the solution as such. The reserves league should be there. It should get implemented that way, I think, because there won't be a if you have 11 clubs, I don't think all the clubs have a major striker backup as foreigner. So the striker backup will be an Indian. So they will start playing in the reserve league and they will get some game time. But then the other question is, this reserve league will not be broadcasted. It will not be. It will probably be behind closed doors and things. Even when this COVID thing and everything is done and dusted. So that's another issue also. Like if you don't play in the, you should have game time in a very competitive match. And if it is not telecasted and if it is behind closed doors and all, and I don't know how much it will be competitive and stuff, like players getting that game time will suit them or not. So we will see. There should be a solution for this, but I don't think an artificial. We are still talking about an artificial solution. Majorly, it should come from an organic solution. The problem now is it is a most of the club plays in a system where like one striker plays as the sole striker. All our other Indian striker came while the system was a 4-4-2. So, and Sunil Chhetri, Baichung Bhutia, all these played as a second striker in a 4-4-2. So behind a foreign striker. So that's how they started performing and people started trusting them. So something needs to be done, or something needs to be happen organically to one of the maybe Manveer scoring 10 goals or something like that. I don't know. Something should happen because we need striker for our national team, and that's one of the major position I see a depth. Like there is not much of a game time going on.
Yeah, well, so we've heard some very insightful, stuff, very insightful words from Krishnan Bro and Vivek Mohan. I believe that I have also contributed to the conversation. So yeah, today in our first full episode of God's Own Football's English podcast, to give you a quick recap, we discussed on the refereeing standards in the ISL and the feasibility of technological advancements like VAR and world technology in the league. We discussed about the lack of playing time in key roles for Indian players, and how ISL teams have to give a fix in this regards, so that the league as such and the teams help in overall development of Indian football as well. Yeah, so well, that's all for today. I hope you have listened to the special episode on Roland Alberg as well. We released it a few days ago, and we have given some very insightful information on what the new player means for Hyderabad FC. So do listen to our episodes. We are there on social media as well. We are there on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. So listen to our podcast. Like and share the page among your friends and football fans and everywhere. Keep listening to our podcast. Subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, and do give us your continued support, because it means a lot to us and it will clearly help us in our way forward. So that's all for today. See you all in another episode, and until then, bye bye and take care.